Live finally on YouTube. Been on Facebook for near on 9 years, campaigning for children's rights. I do see myself as part of Anonymous, and I have got the right and earned the right to pull down my mask and give children in this country the best possible shout, leaning on the Constitution and the British Bill of Rights. Proving a crime against humanity and exposing the rule of law and exposing Parliament as not being sovereign. I've sat back for about a couple of years on YouTube. 206 subscribers. For years. I've been trying to get on YouTube. I finally got on YouTube. Can't believe it. Madness, eh, babes?
Very much.
Absolute madness. So I just thought I'd, now I've got the option to go live, I thought I'd do a quick live, you know, and I've been watching YouTube for the last 2 years and wow, I bet you no one watches telly no more. I bet you no one watches telly no more. I'm a children's rights campaigner and all I want to do is combat social care and try and create comfortability. Children's rights has been working hard on Facebook. So if anyone wants to check out my Facebook, it's Misty Barnes. Look for the man with the red cat kissing a baby. It's been a hard slog trying to get recognised on social media. But finally, I can go live on YouTube, so that's a good thing. This is about Brexit's happened. And for 2 years I've been sitting back and watching all the people that have been labelled hard men, shown they're hard men, and say they're hard men. All different faces, all kinds of stories, very interesting stories I might add. Brexit's happened. I think that we should all be coming together for the sake of children's rights, because we're all here saying we're the next best change, including myself, and there's no unity. Not one person, not one campaign can do it. It's a collective thing. Charity begins at home, and children's rights is children's rights. I've always campaigned to use all the child killers, send them off to the NHS labs to cure children's diseases and stop animal testing. Once you take a child's right, you ain't got a right. All paedophiles on a points-based system sent to the NHS labs to cure children's diseases and stop animal testing. It's a crust and we live on it. So it's important that I help you all understand and believe in hyperventuality, because hyperventuality is real and we all experiencing it in our lives every minute of the day, and we don't realise it. Under hyperventuality, just your date of birth alone, I could tell you how many times you've been here before and what your purpose is, and give you a reading on that. Hyperventuality is real. We're in a part of living forever. We were somewhere else before, but we can't remember it, and we can't. But we know we've come from, and we go on too. You get all these people that hunt ghosts and stuff, and so we know there's another world there. That's the next part of living forever. If you leave this part of living forever in the righteous way, or living your life the righteous way, being nice to people, going around being nice to people, because we all say it, don't we? What goes around comes around. That's hyperventuality. It's massive. There was only one person that mentioned hyperventuality, and that was a man who mentioned it in a book. I elaborate on hyperventuality. You know, if you chase the money, you ain't going to find that comfortability, and you ain't. Money's the root of all evil. How many times do we say it, people? And it is. When the devil wants paying, he wants paying. He don't care if you're down in the dumps. He don't care if you're banged up. He don't care if you lose your life. When you dance with the devil, when he wants paying, he wants paying. And we all experience the devil, and we all hear and listen to the devil in our thoughts. A lot. You could be a jealous person looking on at one of your neighbours, seeing he got a brand new BMW and you're jealous, and you think the little devil thoughts are there. Scratch his car, throw some paint stripper on it, do something to his car. You know? That's the negativity. That's the hyperventuality paths you don't want to be going down, because you want to be going down the righteous paths. Because what goes around comes around. You should be happy for that person. And you being happy for that person, it'll come back to you, because someone will be happy for you. If you chase money, you ain't going to find that comfortability. And you ain't. And that's a fact. Because money's the root of all evil. The power's in the glory. And it is love thy neighbour. You know? I experienced the forced adoption case back in 2012, and I campaigned constantly on Facebook for justice. Revamping the whole of social care, because we come with solution, a costed solution for the service everyone can use and trust. It's about us people coming together. We might call ourselves roadmen, hard men, I don't care. We should be coming together. This is our country. It's on a slippery slope and it keeps going. Everyone's too busy arguing and squabbling on Facebook, when in all honesty, we should be coming together for children's rights. Not for me, not for you, not for Billy Bragg down the road or Teresa Green down the road. We should be coming together for the sake of the children, showing respect to the veterans. Because if it weren't for the veterans of this country, we wouldn't be on YouTube. And we'd be speaking German. Trust me. So it's so important, you know, to combat social care, come together, because we're all in the right mind and all on the same page. We don't want people to go through what we've gone through. Don't go down the path we've gone down, you know. So we should all be coming together, you know. People that call themselves reform people, come together. And that's what it should be in each and every area, you know. Influential people coming together for the sake of the kids and the future generations. Because let me tell you something, guys. All these kids that are being labelled up and down this country with all these kind of problems, they're tomorrow's referrals. Given we've just had a pandemic, we're going to miss a generation. The generation we're going to need to be calling on later for care. Because the triple lock's near all there now for the old people. Selling all their assets for a bit of care. Bed blocking in hospitals, and social workers hard to push to find places to avoid these fines at the governing body of the NHS for bed blocking, late discharges and transfers. So it's so important to build old people's homes, put an ease on the NHS, sort this social care system out, because once you have a child in this country, you lose your right. And you do. There is no Men and Equalities Minister in Parliament for you to go to. When you go and speak to these politicians, they say, oh, we can't get involved in individual cases. So why do you give your sovereignty up and go and vote? When you're a man and you have a child, you lose your rights, and you're seen as a walking wallet, and you're demonised by people like social workers. And you are. Majority of the time, you know. 1 minute you get a court order, which is in the civil courts to see your child, and you think you're getting somewhere, and then before you know it, you realise it's a false promise. And you go into the police because your contact's not upheld, and then before you know it, you're being told it's a civil matter. But if you don't pay your child maintenance, it's criminal. You can't have it both ways. It's either civil or it's not. So I feel so sorry for the men of this country. You've been seeing the media, been trying to whip up, you know, animosity between men and women. It's been crazy. The amount of smoke screens that's been going on in the media through all kinds of reasons, scaremongering the people. And I believe that's because of the hard work that Children's Rights is doing to expose the rule of law and Parliament. I exposed the rule of law outside the Royal Courts of Justice before Christmas. So we've got a justice system in this country which is upholding the rule of law on long-term foster and adopting children, right? It's working with councils that meet threshold on the rule of law of failing kids. So the justice system looks on at these councils, sees that these councils are failing kids to the point where they're dying, and then putting children into the care of them councils on future risk of harm. So the rule of law are being hypocrites with the children of this country. And when the kids go into these failing councils, they're being failed. All forms of abuse. And these children are not heard. And this is why I campaign so hard for kids of the care system, deep within the secure units, because that's where I'm from. I've got ongoing issues and unresolved issues regarding historical child abuse, which I'm campaigning for. Not just me, many other boys that suffered horrific abuse in the House of Hell in Liverpool. Due to go on the megaphone on Thursday, it'd be absolutely amazing if we could get some support down there for the sake of every single boy that went to that school. It's about time that us people that call ourselves as reformed characters to come together on this. Because charity begins at home, and we really do need to come together. There's that many people making videos now wanting other people to change, and they want to influence people, and they call themselves truthers, and they want to stop people going down the wrong paths and not go to jail and do what they did. And it's amazing, but it's not enough, and it isn't. For 2 whole years, round in circles, it's gone tennis, backwards and forwards. It's heartbreaking to see it, because at the end of the day, we should be putting all our abilities together, and we should, and making our own areas be the best they can be. You know, safeguarding kids in our own areas. If we create a social care we're all comfortable with, it keeps families together, prevents future risk of harm, and doesn't take kids away from families. I'm about reunificating the kids from the care system back home on working together agreements, because these kids are not listened to. It's all okay labelling these children and then putting them on their medication, etc. It's just not the way, and it isn't the way. You've got to build the trust with these angry kids and start creating avenues for the kids, and that's what children's rights social care is all about. I've worked for years to try and come up with a service that we can all relate to, which is actually training the swamp at the bad and building on the good, in terms of these councils and the professionals who are on proper extravagant wages. I mean, my chief executive is on 3 times more than the Prime Minister, and the council's failing. It meets the rule of law on failing of kids, yet the rule of law puts kids into their care, long-term foster from the family courts. It's an absolute outrage. And when you go through this social service process, it's molestation. Because what it is that the social worker will take your children on an emergency interim care order. That is a form of compulsion set upon you by the state. And while you're under that compulsion set upon you by the state, they'll say to you, right, we want to take assessments on you now. Psychological and psychiatric assessments, parental assessments, drug tests, etc. While you're under compulsion. At the same time, you're in a legal process, 26-week court process for long-term foster or adoption. So they're molesting the acts and statutes of Parliament. At the same time, you grassroots families. And all the time, all this backwards and forwards and bickering goes on. These children are being forgotten about, seen and not heard. They should be heard and not seen. And we should be coming together for the sake of the kids of this country. You know, show respect to the veterans. That's what we should be doing. Making sure our old people relax. It's all right when that government want every pound out of your pocket, to the point where if they don't think they've got enough, they'll employ even more civil enforcement officers to get that pound out your pocket. How many times have we got to pay for this failing social care? How many times? National insurance rise, council tax rise. You're paying for a failing service. There's no accountability. The amount of misfeasance and malfeasance in office that goes on in these councils. And there's no accountability. We don't see them in criminal courts. These are criminal offences. And we've seen these people who are deemed far right, and some cases some people deem them extreme, but at the end of the day, they're screaming and shouting about all the child grooming gangs. No one bears to think about the J report in the child grooming gangs, when the investigating officer in the J report for the Rotherham grooming gangs, she allowed 27 there on around professionals to avoid her in the J report. So the girls of Rotherham didn't get no real outcome in the J report because 27 professionals didn't meet the investigating officer to give their view on it, account on it. That's misfeasance in social care. Lord Beecham and Lord Foulkes stated that in the Lords. So we've got to make sure that we hold this government to account properly and these councils, because at the minute the justice system are acting like hypocrites, and these councils are driving their austerity, and most of them are closed, taking away part of your civil right to be able to walk into the council. Where do you see the MPs doing their day jobs? You don't. So it's so important that we have a system for the future. You know, we don't need people like Nigel Farage, who's like a political pundit. That's not what we want. We don't want politicians who are there to get their picture taken and, you know, jump in the election to try and get a few votes. It's not going to happen. By making it happen is proving that Parliament is the sovereign. I can do that in many ways. And I can prove the judiciary system, the justice system, isn't lawful in many ways. And leaning on my constitution and the British Bill Article 9, I'm going to get there. My aim is to get in between Parliament and the monarch. Already, I can feel myself within the fonda beneath the throne. Already. So it's so important for all those people that call ourselves reform characters to do the right thing and come in the direction of children's rights, to do the right thing for our own areas. Charity begins at home. And when I get to the top, I'm going to make sure that the royal estates pay back to its people. Children's rights as a foundation. It's the children's protector. There's nobody else that'll turn up. That if a kid makes a phone call, the 15 of his mates are going to turn up, and that's the children's protector, the police. We know there's bad apples in the police. We've seen Cressida Dick sent down the road, you know. It's madness. Cleaning up the police force publicly. The only people holding themselves to account, the police. You know, we created that police force. We have. We've created that standing army. And I want to turn it around, big time, for the sake of the kids and the future generations of the kids, you know. I'm going to love yous all and leave yous all, and I hope yous all enjoyed that short little video from SCOUSE Megaphone Man, but I'll do all my work on Facebook. You know, I've got a wicked family network. It's called the Backbone of Children's Rights, and they're absolute amazing people. They all help each other on there. We've created a lot of toys for the kids at Little Havens throughout from all my donations I get. All my donations go to Little Havens. Here, look, Little Havens registered. At the minute, I'm campaigning for beds for Little Havens, these kids, because that's what I believe in. Children shouldn't be campaigning for children if you're taking profit. Children are not for profit, and they should never be for profit. And I think I've demonstrated that for over 9 years. I think this is the Children's Rights Year, and I think getting on YouTube's been an absolute godsend. So I hope you all like it, share it, hit the subscribe button, get them subscribers up, because I've been on 206 subscribers for years. You click on my videos and they don't move. Yeah, you go on Facebook and it's just a total different ball game. You know, it's brilliant, but. You know, I just hope you all jump on the bandwagon and, you know, give children the best possible shout in this country. See you all soon, guys. Take care. God bless.